Good afternoon, Professor Moscoso. Good afternoon, classmates. Today, our group is going to expose about the reversing rotation direction in a triphasic electric motor. This project is based on our experiences through these last 16 weeks in this semester, 2024. Next one, please. So, these are the members of the team, Cristian, Fabricio, Rodrigo, Douglas, and Karla. Next one. And also we have the contents of the exposition, beginning with the introduction, then the chapter 1, we're gonna talk about the materials, then the chapter 2, circuits, chapter 3, the code, the programming, and finally the chapter 4, where we will find the operation. Next one, please. So, let's begin with the introduction. We know how important electric motors are in the industry, in the electric industry, and also the type of triphasic electric motors, which are like the most used in the industry, talking about the biomedical, chemical, and mechanical field. And also we have to mention like the relevance in some activities and even in some like tasks in the, for example, in our case, in the hospitals and biomedical equipment. The next one, please. So, in this project, in the reversing rotation direction, we use some components. And let's start with the first one, and in my opinion, the most important, which is the electric three-phase motor, which converts the electrical energy into another form, in this case, mechanical energy. So the main goal of the project is like how this code in the Arduino, the electronic car Arduino, like sends this signal to reverse the rotation direction in the motor, in this three-phase electric motor. Then we will find the contactor, which is like a very important component, and basically there is like a main element inside of this element, inside of this contactor, which is the coil. It's like a material where the current flows, and when the current flows, we're gonna have the pass of the current and some certain actions. Also, we have the thermomagnetic circuit breaker, which is basically to avoid damage to the rest of the circuit. For example, if there is like an overload in the input of the current, so these breakers will like pull down and protect the rest of the circuit. Also, we have some buttons and switches which are like mainly activate a function. It could like reverse in this case, reverse the rotation direction in the motor. The next one, please. And finally, we have the Arduino Uno, which is, as I said, the electronic card. And here is the importance, the relevance of this electronic card. Is that we will find many libraries of easily manipulation where we can work with. And also we're going to use some cables to connect the components and control the current. Okay, so for the next part, let's hear our partner Karla.
The circuit part, well, it's divided into two parts, control circuit and power circuit. About the first part, what is a control circuit? Well, it's a system designed to manage the operation of another device, in this case a three-phase motor. Next, please. We can use an Arduino to send signals to the relays, which change the connection of the motor to reverse the rotation. Next slide, please. About the interface circuit, an open relay is required for both two contactors, which are used because we seek reversal. The circuit diagram details the relay configuration and connects necessary to handle motor starting and reversing. The power circuit, my classmate Fabricio is gonna continue with this second circuit.
Okay, so to continue with the speech, now I'm going to explain the power circuit of the system. So first we have to describe what is this. We can read. The power circuit is used to control and supply electrical power to devices or systems. But this is a general description of this type of circuit. Talking about our circuit, next one please. We are going to describe this figure that we have here. First we have, well, in the first part we mentioned that we needed a thermomagnetic breaker. This thermomagnetic breaker is represented here. We have three lines, three phases lines, L1, L2, and L3. And here we have the two contactors, one to the normal rotation, and the second one to reverse the rotation of the motor that is here. This motor is a squirrel cage motor. It's one of the most common motors used. And here we have a round that is the protection of this circuit. Okay, so now here we have L1 and L2 and L3 that go through these roads. And as I said, this part is the system that is going to make us a normal rotation. And this part is that I'm going to explain is the part that reverses the rotation of the motor. Here we have that L3 goes to L3, and after this, the T3 passes to be that T1, and the same with L1 and T1 that goes to T3. This change is the thing that is going to make the rotation of our motor. And that's all. Thanks. I'm going to pass to my classmate Cristian to explain the code of this system. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm going to continue with the presentation. Right now, I'm going to explain the programming code for starting and reversing rotation of a three-phase motor. Next, please. First code. To turn the electric motor on and off. You have two parts. First, the setup function. In the setup function, I configured the pins. For example, pins 2 and 3 are set as outputs to activate the contactors KM1 and KM2 respectively. And pins 4 and 5 are set as inputs to read the state of push buttons pulse A and pulse B. Initially, both contactors are set to high to keep the motor off. And the second part is the loop function. The loop function continuously reads the states of the pushing buttons. If pulse A is pressed or is low, it turns on the motor by setting the output of pin 2 to low. If pulse B is pressed or is low, it turns on the motor by setting the output of pin 2 to high. Next, please. Here we have the second code to reverse the rotation of the electric motor. And here we have two parts too. First, the setup function. Similar to the first code, we set up the pins in the setup function. Both contactors are initially set to high to keep the motor off. And the second part, the loop function. The loop function checks the states of the pushing buttons to determine the direction of the motor rotation. If pulse A is pressed or is low, and pulse B is not pressed or is high, the motor rotates in one direction by setting pin 2 to low and keeping pin 3 high. If pulse B is pressed or is low, and pulse A is not pressed or is high, the motor rotates in the opposite direction by setting pin 3 to low and keeping pin 2 high. If button if both pulse A and pulse B are present, the motor turns off by setting both pins to high. So, these two codes provide a simple yet effective way to control our three-phase motor, allowing us to start, stop, and reverse its rotation using Arduino. Thank you for your attention. My classmate is going to continue with the presentation.
I'm going to explain the last part. Next one, please. First code. To turn the electric motor on and off, first of all, it's necessary to mention that for the entire circuit to be in operation, we have to turn on the thermomagnetic circuit breaker and realize the operation in the contactor. Subsequently, by pressing a button, the three-phase motor will turn on. While pressing another, it will turn off. Next one, please. In second code is to reverse the rotation of the electric motor. Regarding the second code, after turning on the thermomagnetic circuit breaker and realizing how the contactor works, when we press a button, the three-phase motor will rotate in one direction, clockwise, for example, and when we press the other button, it will change direction of rotation counter-clockwise. According to the example, with a delay of 1 second or minus 1 second. It's all. So thank you so much for your attention.